Welcome to the Agents of the Roundtable Wiki Community AMA. Every Monday, we discuss Secret Network and its applications with guests from all around the network. This is an audio recording of the AMA. We hope you enjoy.
Whoa, we did it. Welcome. Okay, so let's give it a few minutes to have some extra people join. If you have any avenues to share, then feel free to do so. In the meantime, let's give it 1 or 2 minutes.
Cool.
You can maybe join from the CertUP account as well if you have your PC on.
I don't have the login info for the CertUP account right in front of me. It's somewhere, but I have to go looking for it.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a busy conference time. Every meeting has been a little bit empty this week, so I assume there won't be too many people here, but so we can just get started.
Yeah, that makes sense. Our development committee on Monday was pretty much dead. There were 2 people in it.
Yeah, same for education this week. There were like 6 people. That's how it goes. It's all good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you should have booked me for a busier week.
well, we didn't have any guests, and then I saw your announcement today, and I was like, that's a nice way to get someone on. So let me do the quick intro. I said, welcome everybody. It's Agents of the Roundtable again. Every Thursday, 5 p.m. UTC, we have a guest from the Secret Network ecosystem. And this week we have the Trivium team on, who are developers behind CertUP. And CertUP is, I guess I can better ask you, Trivium. What exactly is CertUP? And can you maybe quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, so CertUP is a secret network-based digital important documentation system. So this can be for certificates themselves, or it can be for IDs, pretty much anything that you want to have secure on the blockchain and be verifiable. So an example would be if you got a diploma from, let's say, Harvard or something like that, and they use CertUP, Harvard would go through and they would make you a digital diploma, and each diploma is going to have a hash key inside of it to prove that it came from the verified issuer of Harvard University. And then you could share that information with, let's say you're applying for a job, you can whitelist people to see all your certificates and anything important that they would want to see.
I guess that's a very accurate description of what CertUP is. I couldn't have explained it better. And maybe can you quickly go into who are you guys? What is the development team behind CertUP? Where do you fit in the secret ecosystem?
Yeah, so we're Trivium. I am Lumi of Trivium, and together with Zephyr, we are the people who are building the technical aspect of CertUP. The full team is Ziph and I, plus Oscar from Alter, who you may know as Freeman for his Discord handle. He is handling the business development side of it, and he's been getting us in touch with different companies who are going to be our clients and partners who are going to use the CertUP system. I handle the smart contract side of things, and Zephyr is the one who's handling the front end and building the website and fixing all the bugs that are being found in the public beta that's up right now. If anyone hasn't tried out the public beta, definitely give it a shot. You can make projects, make certificates, send them to people. It's pretty cool stuff. And then tell us if you find stuff that's wrong so we can fix it before the official launch.
Yeah, cool. I started doing some stuff with the testnet today. Skrilla, who was also inside the agency, made a certificate for me to try out. for some reason it kept on loading. So I think there was something wrong with the front end, but I'll probably try it again somewhere later and see if I can make a small bug report.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We'll if it continues to not work, you can just like meet with us and we'll try and like walk you through it to figure out what the errors are. We've done that a couple times so far, and each time we've been able to figure it out at the end.
Yeah, you slowly improve the application over time. I
Yeah.
guess. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, it's been quite a journey. We've been making it better and better, and just playing the game of whack-a-mole with the bugs that we've been finding.
Yeah,
There are very few moles left to whack at this point.
that's good to hear. Yeah, I think I heard of CertUP for the first time maybe 4 to 5 months ago. Is that a good timeline? I think I saw Guy, the founder of Secret Labs, talking about needing an application as such, and Oscar was very active in certain chats about seeing the importance of issuing certificates and diplomas on Secret. So I'm curious, is that a bit true? Is it like a 5 month timeline? How long have you guys been working on this product?
Yeah, it's been around there. I know that we started talking about it, I think in early April, I believe, or late March, somewhere around there. So that timeline is pretty accurate. Um, and then I've been working on the smart contract for a couple months. I had just moved to Florida, so it took a little bit longer than it should have. And then once I nailed down the smart contract, Ziff made the website, and then we've been like going back and forth finding issues with our respective sides and tackling all the problems we could find. And we're getting pretty close to the end here. We're in the home stretch.
Yeah, it's on this on some end it seems like a simple application, but I assume there is a lot that goes into it. I'm sure it's not just one contract in the end. It is similar as to like a standard NFT listing, right? Where you have one person which creates a collection and other people can basically collect these NFTs. The only difference being that if you collect an NFT, you're probably never going to give it to someone else because it's very personal data. It shows that you did something. So
Mhm.
does this also mean that you can't actually share the NFTs, or can you still transfer them if you want?
You cannot transfer them. The only capabilities that you're going to have are to let other people view them. Once it's in your wallet, we don't want it leaving your wallet. So let's say if someone puts like driver's licenses on this platform, you don't want to end up sending your driver's license to someone else to use. That would not be great. But in terms of what's happening on the back end, it's actually a couple different contracts. We have a standard SNP 721 contract, and that is what holds all of the NFTs once they're minted. And then we have a manager contract, and that holds all the information for the issuers. It holds the redemption codes that are going to mint to the SNP 721 contract. And that is set up so we can continue to update the smart contracts over time without having to transfer over all the NFTs to a new NFT contract. Once we published an updated version, we can actually connect the new contract with the old contract, get some data transferred over. And there's a bunch of data that we can't transfer over just because it would be too much to do. And in those cases, we have it set up so the newer contract will actually query the older contract whenever it needs to access that data. So it turns into just a big mesh of contracts. It's pretty. That was the most challenging part, I think, getting them all to work together like that.
Yeah, and working with sensitive data like this, it's probably quite a big hassle to make sure that even if you eventually upgrade contracts or you add some sort of admin functionality, that it's not the case that someone gains actual access to the data that people are putting into these NFTs. Like if I get the certificate from you and I add some private data or the issuer adds some private data for me, then it should only be for me. So I guess that makes this entire mess a little bit more complicated.
Exactly. And that's another good reason for why we have, once all the NFTs are minted, that's why we have them on just a SNP 721 contract that never changes and never gets updated, because we don't want that data to go anywhere. If we made that updatable, then potentially, we're not going to do this, but potentially it would be possible for us to, pull it into like a false smart contract that just scrapes all the data and stuff like that. There's some funky stuff that you can do. So we're leaving it in that single SNP 721 contract once it gets minted. The data that gets transferred over is like the issuer data of how many certificates do you have available on your account to start minting for your projects. It's really the issuer data that's on the manager contract, and that's the one that gets updated.
So I assume for us to verify that this is actually the case, the code will be open source, or won't it be?
Yeah, at some point it will be open source once we're published to the mainnet. I'm a huge fan of open sourcing. I try and open source everything that I can. And everyone can consider it a challenge to try and do better than us if they think they can. They can take a look at our code and see if there are any improvements to be made, as the free market should work.
That's cool, but it seems like this is not only a tool which you can just open source and say, hey, I developed this, maybe support me. It seems like you actually want to support this for the long run, right? It's a project both Oscar and you guys are quite enthusiastic about, and I already saw you have one partner. So what's the future for the project going to be? Is there a sort of revenue stream? Are you actively doing business development to make sure people are starting to use it? Or is it a tool which needs to find its footing first in the network?
This is a full product. And as you mentioned, we do already have our first partner, who is the European Technology School. And we do have a bunch of other people that are interested in it, and they just want to see how it works with the European Tech School first. So we're already in discussions with getting different customers and clients. This will be a system where once you become an issuer, you're going to purchase a certain number of certificates that you can set up for other people to mint to their own wallets. So the issuers pay, the recipients don't have to pay anything. And then we intend to expand it to more and more customers. My hope is to eventually get to the point where we can get government documents on this thing. One of the things that I talk about frequently is how insecure the Social Security system is in the US and how easy it is to access other people's Social Security info. That's a system that needs to be fixed, and I would love if we could somehow get into that and fix that system. I'm not super confident about that because the US moves very, very slow in terms of blockchain technology, but it's a dream in the distance for us to try for.
It's also always important to have big goals and see where that leads. So it's cool there that there are some projects lined up already, which might be interested in using it. I recently actually had a conversation with a business development person at Civic. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They do identity solutions for blockchains. They basically gather information from people, like KYC stuff, but sometimes also liveness proofs, some biometrics and stuff like that off chain, and they commit a proof to whatever blockchain it deploys on and says, hey, this person with this wallet has committed KYC to us, or he has shown that he is at least alive, that he doesn't have a second wallet, like he's not sibling. Do you think these kinds of like identity solutions also have a fit in CertUP, seeing as it would be possible eventually, I imagine, for this information to actually exist on Secret, so you could do on-chain identity proofs or on-chain symbol resistance?
Yes, absolutely. We intentionally made the amount of the data that can go into these certificates very flexible. you can really customize it to do whatever you want. CertUp is the cert part of CertUp is really just in the name. It's for much more than certificates. Certificates are just kind of the starting point here. We have people that want to use it for identification in their own corporations, people that want to use it for authenticity for pieces of art, things like that. A lot of people have a lot of very interesting uses. One of them is safety inspections from a manufacturer, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it can actually be really basic, something which you just don't want to be copied, like it's a 101, it's not on paper, and it's verifiably. But it can, because of the private data, it can also get very complex, and people can put things on chain which they would never imagine putting on another blockchain, where it's just not safe, basically.
Exactly. And that's why I've moved from calling it a certificate platform to an important documents platform, because as it's evolved, we've really we've made it significantly more flexible than just certificates. So yeah, you can do anything. If you guys try out the testnet version, see what you can build, what sort of projects you can make. And we hope to expand it even more at some point if we can think of things that we somehow didn't make it possible to include.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see if I can commit some sort of school certificates on there. We're going to do some education courses in Secret Network over the coming weeks, and probably issuing. We can do the stash batch ray, right, where we issue an NFT which is non-transferable. But it also has a cool effect if you just literally give someone a diploma. So we might look into issuing those maybe on testnet just for fun, see if people can interact with them and if they like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the utility there is it's very easy to prove that it's official because of that issuer hash that's inside of each certificate.
Yeah, maybe a fun idea is that we on Secret Network we have these bots, right? Who, if you own a certain NFT, you can sign a permit with this bot. This bot will then check if this with this permit, if you actually own a certain asset or if you own enough of a certain asset, and then they will issue to the Discord that you get a certain role, for example, or they will issue to someone else that, hey, this is correct. Could you potentially do this for CertUp as well? Say, I have a certificate which tells people that I completed a certain course, and then I get a role in the Discord.
Absolutely. You have complete control over who can see your certificates. So that can be built out to give that permission to a bot, for example. I've actually talked with Mook, not about this specific project, but he is a fantastic bot maker and has done a similar thing for Anons, where the Anons Telegram has the bot has permission to look through people's Anon NFTs and see what their Telegram handle is associated with that NFT. And there are cleaner ways that we've found to do that since Anons has been made. There's more secure ways, and but it's still the same basic premise where you can whitelist others to view the information inside, or just view that you own the NFT itself and not see all of the information.
Yeah, I think you are familiar with Kevin as well, right? The front end developer for IBC Friends, and he does the IBC NFT bot. And I think he did some things with Legend DAO and Cover. He also has a bot running which does these similar things. So it would be cool to get that integrated.
So your connection lagged out for the name. You said Kevin, right?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Yeah, Kevin and I actually go pretty far back. I helped him set up his first NFT project, which was ConfCats, using the NFT template that I made with the randomized minting. So yeah, he and we actually work on a couple things together and are in frequent contact. So he's a blast to work with.
Yeah, he probably was the first developer I got to know, because ConfCats indeed was my first NFT project, just to buy, actually. But, So I've been in contact with him since, and with you as well. So it's interesting to see how all these things to come together, right? And where people find their first entrance into the ecosystem.
Yeah, and the ecosystem is growing faster and
Okay.
faster, so it's very interesting to see every new developer come in and find their niche and gain their own popularity.
Yeah, and it goes quicker as well. There's more and more tooling, more open source contracts. It definitely becomes easier to develop now on Secret than it was a year ago.
Yeah, it was hell a year ago.
It's good that it's not that we're a year further. I think I'm going to ask you maybe a bit of a difficult question. If I can still remember, somehow I lost it. Give me a sec. Okay, sometimes you have these blackouts. You just have to go with it. I had a very nice question lined up, but I blanked out.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
This happens.
Yeah, just let me know if you think of it later.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm completely blanking. Anyway, maybe first, before we go into that, the testnet is live. What can people do to use it and basically test CertUP out and see where it's going?
Sorry, could you repeat that question one more time? The internet here is it's a little bit funky. I'm in Florida with Hurricane Ian right now, so sometimes things lag out.
Take care. I heard some other people were actually leaving Florida because of how big, I guess, the hurricane was, or how heavy. So take care. My question was, if I want to use the testnet and I want to help you guys make a better product, where do I begin? Well, what can I do? Where do I leave my feedback?
Yes, so we actually have a CertUp Discord server, and in there we have a bug reporting channel, and people have been just putting the bugs that they find in there, and then we've been going through one by one and fixing them, or if it's a user error thing, then we're going to go and explain what happened there, and we're gonna try and in those cases, we're going to use that feedback to make it a little bit more obvious for users to understand what they're supposed to do in those cases. So we're going to try and cover all our bases there. I should probably, do you have that channel? Like, are you in that channel? If you want can you link that in this Twitter space? I don't really know how these if you can post to Twitter Spaces, if there's like a chat that everyone's in.
I think there is a chat. Let me figure this out. I'll try it out. I'm not in that Discord actually, but I'll search the link and see if I can get it in here.
Here. I'll you know what? I'll send it to you right now. I'll DM it to you.
In the meantime, I think Secret Skrilla might have a question. He came on as well.
Yes, I do. Hello, Earthman. Oh, you probably can't hear me because my mic wasn't down. Hello, Earthman. Hello, Lumi. Cheers for coming online and sharing the information with us. I tried out the testnet earlier on today, and I can just see so much potential for the secret agents. So yeah, thanks so much. Put a lot of bug reports in as well, so I hope you guys are working through those. FYI, secret agents, if you want to get involved with the testnet, and any other testnets, you can join our beta testers working group as well. That's in the main server. But yeah, believe me, I checked out the announcement that you guys put out just this morning, and the number one point on there is to become a test issuer. So my question is, will we be able to issue exams on CertUp and have the pass fail verification done or marking done via CertUp and then issue the certificates as well? I'm sorry if you already went over that. I did miss a bit of the call at the start.
Exams as in like tests, examinations?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be able to have like a questionnaire and then a pass-fail rate, and then the certificate granted if you pass.
Yeah, so it's there's not a testing system built into CertUp, but you can feasibly set up a system that will automatically grant you a CertUP certificate upon completing something. That's going to take a little bit more building out, but it is possible.
I just know that Ertemann is listening to that and just like fist pump in the air right now, because we're trying to solve this problem for the agents. We've got a lot of exams that we want to put them through, and we want to give them NFT badges and certificates and stuff like that when they pass. But we're having to do a lot of manual awarding and things like that. And with 4,000 agents active at any one time, it's quite difficult. So yeah, definitely look forward to that. And do keep us in touch and keep us updated with any of the announcements related to CertUP.
Absolutely. And we can talk later about how we can set this thing up. It should be pretty simple. I need to think about it a bit, but so far I'm thinking it's going to be pretty simple.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, thanks very much. I think even if we just had like an integration with like a Google form, for example, a pass-fail CSV could work like that. We'll have to talk about it.
Yeah, essentially it would be a bot that is able to comb through a bunch of Google forms that have the information about who is filling out those forms and who's taking the test. And then that bot is going to have issuer permissions on CertUp, and it can just like post everything and provide the redemption key to the user if they pass.
Okay, sounds good. We also have like wallet addresses and stuff like that we collect from the secret agents, so we could do a whitelist kind of thing for the certificate as well, automatic whitelist. Yeah, we definitely need to collaborate on that and try and automate these processes.
Absolutely, yeah. CertUp is gonna make things really easy.
Yeah, so for some reason I can't think of my exact question anymore, which is really bugging me. But I guess it happens. So I'm just
it happens. No
going to
worries.
reframe the question. I'm just going to reframe the question. What do you see as the biggest challenge going forward for CertUp, and what exactly do you want to change or achieve in the upcoming few months and years?
I think the biggest challenge for CertUp is, well, it's really biz dev at this point. It's expanding into marketplaces and showing people that this is a much better solution for document handling than the things that we currently have. There, in that field, people are very conservative about these things because it is such important information. You don't want to have it be mishandled. You don't want to have it be linked. So people are understandably very, very careful. So as we go up in levels of importance of what is handled on these certificates, people are going to be increasingly more cautious. And they really have to see and understand that this is a much more secure way to handle things. And our challenge is going to be in making them see how much more secure this is.
Yeah, I guess the first business development is you have to travel to Africa and do like the Charles Hoskins and find a university that is willing to issue their diplomas, and then by then you should be a network which is worth 10 to 20 billion, just your own application.
Yeah. So thankfully we already have the Euro Tech School as a partner, and in our talks with some other potential clients, they've said specifically they're going to see how it works with the Euro Tech School first. So we already know that people are looking at this, and they just want more evidence that it does work and people are able to use it successfully and securely. And we have the first step in, and we just need to keep working at it and introduce it to more people and show them that people have used it successfully in the past, or will be using them successfully, rather.
I agree. By the way, this is where it needs a first use case to be able to show to other people, hey, this is what you can do, and see it's secure and it works, to lower the barrier for other people. So having that first real use case and first client is a big part. So happy you guys started with that from the start. I think Oscar has some sort of relation with them, or at least found that organization. So it's cool that you can start with actually building out this application for one specific client, just so you can make sure you can show this and get more people on. And now I actually realized that I know again what I wanted to ask you, and that's this.
Okay.
Wallet access is some sort of a problem, right? So you told me that these NFTs are not transferable. These certificates are not transferable because you don't want someone to change their driver's license from a wallet who is owned by someone who's 21 to someone who is 12 years old, or a similar ID.
Yes. I
But
think
what
I
if
know
I
what you're about
lose
to
the
ask.
seed phrase or the private key of my wallet? Then what do I do? This inheritance issue, how is that solved for issuing certificates on a blockchain?
Yes. So, what you're going to do in that case is you're going to speak with the people who issued your certificates in the first place. Um, they are going to be able to reissue a certificate if you verify that you know who you are, and that you aren't just some like scammer trying to grab someone else's certificates. The issuers actually can see the history of the other certificates that they have made, so they can say, "Oh yeah, we did give this person this certificate in the past." If they've lost this, then we know we gave it to them before. We can reissue it to them, and they can move it to their new wallet.
Yeah, so I guess the only attack vector that remains is like the standard centralized attack vector, where you do some sort of a SIM swap. But if you really want to issue another driver's license, you would really have to make sure it is the same person. So that really wouldn't be the case. So I guess it's good to know that this inheritance issue is solved from the start, basically by having the issuer have some sort of control about reissuing a certain certificate. So that's cool.
Yeah. Each issuer has a fairly considerable amount of control over everything that they do. Um, the the CertUP team itself actually has relatively little control over everything. Essentially, our powers are limited to editing certain issuer properties if one of the issuers is having trouble with something, and we can go in and let's say they go through a name change and they're having trouble doing it themselves, they can message us and we can help them take care of it. And we can also transfer over their certificates that they've purchased but haven't used yet over to the any newly updated smart contracts. So stuff like that. But in terms of controlling their own projects and like who they're issuing certificates to, it's very decentralized, and the issuers have control over that instead of us.
Cool. Yeah, you need enough. You need enough access as an issuer to make sure that you can blacklist if someone loses something, or if you can reissue them. But you also need to make sure that people feel safe having that certificate and don't think that it can easily be taken away from them. So it's like a centralized version of NFTs, which is frankly very necessary for these types of business use cases. So good to hear how that's how that access control works in the back end. I'm interested to see more use cases grow. And I guess in the meantime, we can ask some people to come on if they have a question. Feel free to raise your hand. You can ask it to the Trivium team, and they will happily explain what CertUP is doing and how they can basically do whatever you want them to do when it comes to identity certificates and licensing. I'll give it 1 to 2 minutes for some questions, and if not, then we're slowly ending the podcast here.
I have a question that kind of follows on from yours, Erteman. So what happens in the event that an issuer loses their keys, and do they have to reissue all of the certificates again?
If an issuer loses their keys, we actually, so they don't have to reissue any certificates because they're once certificates are minted out, then or even created like before they're minted, like when they're preloaded and awaiting being minted, the data is in the smart contract and it's ready to either be minted by the person who's about to receive it, or once it is minted, it's completely out of the issuer's hands and now solely belonging to the person who was issued to. So an issuer losing their keys isn't so much of a problem. We're able to just talk with them and help them. We can see how many certificates they had left the last time that they like right before they lost their keys, and then remake a new issuer profile for them with the same amount of certificates that they purchased and all the same data and everything. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I think it does.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I don't see anyone else who has raised his hand, so I'll give you the opportunity again, Lumi, to explain to people what they can do to support you in creating CertUP and all the other applications you guys are developing, and then we'll end on there. So feel free to show them where can we support you.
Mm-hmm. So for CertUP, you can actually go on our CertUP Discord and test it out. And providing testing feedback is an enormous help to us right now. So we're going to be linking that. Did I don't think I sent it to you, Erdman, but we'll tweet about it. You can follow the Trivium Twitter, which is I keep forgetting if the Twitter is at Trivium Node or at Trivium Network because we have two of them. Let's see. It's at Trivium Node, and then you can also delegate to our node on Secret Network, which is a huge help, and it's able to support us while we make these apps because we don't normally look for like investor funding. So we're pretty much entirely funded by just the node delegations. So anytime that's done for us, it's an enormous help to this stuff.
Okay, that's it, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Lumi, for explaining CertUP and what you guys are doing. I think it's a very cool niche application, which does have a lot of business use cases. And I think even though I love decentralization, I think in the end, you need to have some very cool business use cases to show what you can do. So very glad to see that coming. I'm curious after the European Tech School who the next issuers will be. And we will definitely try and issue some certificates for following a course. Maybe ask Secret University if they're going to do exactly the same. So we can get that going.
Yeah, Secret University actually is going to be doing the same thing. They've reached out to me beforehand. Yeah, so thank you for having me on. It's a blast to talk about this stuff. I love sharing it with people because it's been our baby for the past several months. So sharing it is what we want to do.
Nice. I always like talking with some developers because they have an interesting way of dissecting all the privacy technology they have to implement to make sure everything is safe and secure. So it was very nice talking to you. Thank you very much for being here. We'll be here next week as well. So if you're catching us on recording, then make sure every Thursday at 5 p.m. UTC you can check in to go to the Agents of the Roundtable. Next week, I will quickly look up who we're going to have on. We have guests planned for the upcoming weeks. So make sure to not miss it. Our live episode will be with Bushy, which is a game which is going to be developed on Secret Network by the platform called OneNet. So we have the founder Leon on to talk about Bushy gaming. I think it's a third person or a first person type of shooter / melee game. So it's going to be really interesting. I hope to see you all there. And for now, thank you very much. Delegate to Trivium if you want to support them in their CertUP application, and see you the next time.
Thank you for listening in on the Agents of the Roundtable Community AMA. Follow us on Twitter at secret_AOTRT and every Monday at 7 p.m. UTC in the Secret Network Discord.